little cuties, Demi Bobemi here, and welcome to a video that, I don't know, I haven't really planned it out. You probably could already tell from the title that this is like a DIY bullet journal. Firstly, I do have to say I've never done a bullet journal. I don't know how it works, but I like the idea, so I wanted to DIY one because like I don't want to go out and buy those expensive notebooks, and also I have stuff at my house that I can use, and I love arts and crafts. So to get started, the things that I'm thinking that I'm going to need are some graph paper. This I actually already was like testing out to see if it would kind of work. I'll link in the description below what graph paper I used. I actually ended up throwing that into Photoshop, changing the opacity and the size so it filled up the entire sheet of paper, and that's just regular 8.5 by 11. Then I also have this brown paper bag for a cover. I mean, you can really use anything that you want. I'm just going to mount this onto some white cardstock, which I have right here. So I'm just going to mount this on here for a like cover, just because I was just going to use the paper, but I don't think that'll be stable enough. And then for the front, I wanted to do this little, I don't know, just like a little simple picture to be like, oh, this is April. And if you don't know, I live in Japan, and it's just about cherry blossom season. I am freaking out. I'm so excited. This is not my font. I did not create this, and these are not my images. I just found these on Google Images. I just typed in literally cherry blossom illustration and then just made a quick little Photoshop thing. This font, I don't remember what it's called. If I do, I'll link it in the description below. I did get it on dafont.com. It's like a free font, I'm pretty sure. I never download anything that like, I don't know, you need a license to use. Anyway, so these are our materials that we're going to use. And then as far as, also, can't forget string. I want to sort of bind the book, obviously, so I'm going to use this cotton string. You can really use anything you want, ribbon, whatever. I just want to kind of go for like this naturally natural vibe. Also, I have this spray adhesive. This is just Elmer's multi-purpose spray adhesive. I've never used any other spray adhesive, but this stuff works like a charm. If you've never used it, it says allows for repositioning and dries permanent. I've actually glued fabric together with this and it held up. This stuff is super nice. Like, it stays tacky for quite a while, so you can move stuff around, which I really, really love. So that's really cool. If you've never used it, like, get on that. Also, of course, scissors. So for when I'm done with it, I've got some pens. I have ballpoints, a fine felt tip, and then just a regular old Sharpie. Also, this guy, this is an awl. This is not a typical tool that people have. You could really use anything that is sharp. This just has a point on it. The purpose of this tool is really just to make holes in things. This isn't mandatory. I'm just using it because I have it and it's going to make this easy, but you can really use anything that has a sharp point. You could probably use like a pen if you wanted. So first thing I think that we need to do is go ahead and, so I've printed out 8 sheets of this graph paper. It's front and back, as you can see. So I'm doing sections of 4, I think, and then just go ahead, fold this in half, hamburger style. What I did on my other one is I found the most middle point, which I believe is right here. So I'm just gonna make a little mark there for the middle point. Then I counted 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks in, marked. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks down, made another mark. And this is where I'm going to bind the notebook together. And then doing the same over here. So I actually also have some cardboard so I'm not stabbing into my table. So as you can see here, our holes that we've made here. Okay, so now I'm going to take some string. I'm just gonna cut off a good length. I don't know, this seems decent. Boop, cut that. And it might be better if you tape the end of your string or whatever you're using to go through these holes. So once you have grabbed some tape, pull a piece off, you're going to tape the end of this at an angle the best you can. I might cut off a little bit of the excess here too. I do really want a very like kind of handmade vibe with this, so I'm not super worried about the appearance. Okay, so I have actually had to cut this tape into a point so it'll thread a little bit easier. Okay, and then I just push it through there with my awl, which helped quite a bit. I'm going to pull this through. I did make my holes a little bit larger, so you don't have to do this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie the ends. So let's make these hole bigger. Okay, and then I want to have these stacked, so I'm gonna go ahead and thread my second grouping. I only folded them separately so that I didn't get that weird where I don't know, things always seem to be skewed when you fold larger stacks of paper together. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to tie this together here. Perfect. And then continue threading through till the end. That tape is definitely just hindering all of this. Now that I've made the holes bigger, I can pull this through. So, what can you do? Just cutting it into a point instead of trying to wrap it into a point. Okay. So, fun tip, learn with Demi. And then I just knotted that guy there at the end. I'm gonna trim that and trim that. Okay, cool. So we have this notebook portion all bound together. So let's work on the top, or not the top, let's work on the cover. Okay, first things first, I want to open up this bag completely flat. Okay, so since this does have the paper bag creases in it, I think I'm just going to crinkle this up. Okay, so what I want to do now is grab my cardstock. So fun fact, since this is a spray adhesive, it gets everywhere. This is my craft table that I'm working on, so I don't mind if it gets sticky, but if you get like goo on or goo off or whatever the heck that stuff is that like removes adhesives, that removes this like super well. Okay, spraying the whole thing. Then I want to use, I don't know, I guess it doesn't really matter what size, what side. Actually, I'm going to set my paper down and then put this on the back and then smooth it out. Ooh, and everything is going to probably get relatively sticky. I'm going to wait for about a minute or so, just take a drink of my coffee, hang out for a second, kind of let the adhesive set so when I'm cutting this out that it doesn't move around too much. Okay, after you've posted about your DIY on Instagram, go ahead and cut this out. I'm going to leave, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch or so around. Going to go ahead and fold this in half. Ta-da! I like this little edge on it. You can definitely fold this over all the way around to give the edge a clean look. I just love the sort of rustic thrown together thing. All right, so we've got our cardboard back out here. Go ahead, take your inside of your booklet. Definitely maybe do this before if you're following along. If you haven't gotten to this point, stop. Don't do it. This is a bit of an experiment for me. Before you put the strings in, I would say mark your cover. That wasn't too terrible, but I would say do that beforehand. It'll be a little bit easier probably. I'm gonna go ahead, make these holes ginormous. And of course, if you're using something like ribbon or like a leather suede string or something, like it's going to be way easier for you to thread it. So something else that I want to do, I want to have a tie that goes around the entire notebook. So I'm going to guess the center, probably right about here. What I'm gonna do is measure the string first with this notebook kind of together, just to make sure I have enough string, because I want it to go around probably a couple of times. So then take your middle notebook, or the actual insides of the notebook. Then I'm going to take both ends and see if we can feed it through. So pull this all the way through toward the end. And then what I'm going to do is put a knot in this bad boy. I want to get it relatively close to the end of this string here, because I don't want too much excess string hanging out. Perfect. So then we can take this tape off, and then I think I'm going to actually knot the ends of these so they don't become unraveled at any point. So that's all done. So my notebook will be closable. Also, the amount of pages I printed out is supposed to be for 1 month. If you couldn't tell, I only printed out April. So you can make multiple of these books for every month. I think I want to do a different little journal for each month. I think that would be super duper cute. So then we need to pull out an approximate length of string. Give yourself a little extra in case you need to, like, I don't know, cut some of it off. So now let's do our ye old tape trick. So what I want to do is feed this through our notebook and then feed it through our cover. And I want to leave this, I think, relatively loose here at the end. Then I want to go from the outside of our cover, and I would leave it relatively loose so you can move the pages around. So we fed that through. Now let's put it through our papers. It's fed through there. Then we'll feed through the bottom. Okay, so that's all fed through. So I'm going to get this all nice and tight in here, if you know what I'm saying. I'm going to tie this in the middle-ish, kind of. So that is all done. Snip those, snip them. Okay, cool. So if you wanted, you could realistically stop here. If you just wanted sort of like a plain book, I think this would be pretty cool. And then just tie this little guy. So now to the optional step of our month label. So I'm going to set this book to the side here. I'm going to pull out my little label that I made, and I am just going to cut this bad boy out. Okay, cute. Okay, cool. So that's all cut out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, flip this over. I'm going to do a little bit of spray adhesive. That was actually a lot. I get a little overzealous, I think. And then I'm just going to put this right near the top, kind of centered. Look at that, how cute. All right, and there you have it, boys and girls, a little notebook. I mean, this obviously doesn't have to be like a bullet journal. Like, you could just put plain paper in here, like if you don't have a printer or access to a printer or anything like that. I'm gonna do a few little things in here for my own personal bullet journal, and then I'll show you guys how I'm kind of setting it up. Again, if you're like a professional bullet journaler, this is the first time for me, so cut me some slack. But stay tuned if you want to see kind of how I set it up. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye! Alright guys, so here is the finished product, and I did put some stuff in it. It's not completely finished, but I thought I would show you guys kind of what my thoughts are on going about this. So you open it up. I do have a like month at a glance, and just putting larger events on each day. Obviously, each day will consist of like smaller parts. But this is just larger stuff. So I had like a work dinner at 7, our wedding anniversary, appointments, and then here I have a tracker, just things I want to track daily. So here I've got some things that I want to track. I did mark some of the days that I've done this stuff. Obviously I haven't been like really keeping up. Hopefully this bullet journal will help me stay on track, obviously tracker. And then down here, I've left some space in case there are things that I decide that like I do want to track that I haven't put in here. And then down at the bottom is just YouTube, recording, editing, and posting. And then on this page here, I have a coffee and water tracker. I want to start cutting down on the amount of coffee that I actually drink a day. I do drink quite a bit, so that's something I want to kind of not do so much anymore. And then obviously up the intake of my water. And then here I have sort of like a daily schedule here. So like my work dinner at 7, like record current household. Since these days have obviously passed, like I'm not really gonna fill those out too much. And then, so that's just that, all of my like daily stuff here. And then I do have quite a few pages in the back. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with those yet. I might look at some ideas online, but that is pretty much sort of what I'm going for here. I'm really honestly just trying to get more organized. I know that I did post a video a while ago saying that like I want to do more like DIYs and arts and crafts and stuff and like bring you guys along. And I haven't even honestly had a chance for the first 3 months of the year to really work on the stuff that I want to do. I've got hope in this bullet journal that hopefully I'll see this and be like, oh yeah, I've got stuff I need to do. I mean, you know what they say, out of sight, out of mind. So anyways, thank you guys so much for checking this out. I really appreciate it. If you guys do have any actual helpful tips or tricks on bullet journaling or what kind of stuff you guys like to add in there, I would love to hear about it. Obviously I'm new, I'm not a professional. This isn't really like a how to do a bullet journal. This is more of like how to make a notebook, and then maybe you can do bullet journaling with me. I don't know. Anyways, that is pretty much that. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please don't be shy. Leave comments, tips, tricks, suggestions, things like that. If you watch any of my videos, you know I love feedback. And as always, I will see you little cuties in the next one. Bye!